Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be discussing with you and giving you some of my thoughts and analysis on some of the newly shown Transformers product to come out of HasbroCon 2020. HasbroCon, in my opinion, has basically taken the place of what would be SDCC, as we have an entire slew of brand new items that have literally just been revealed, some of which we already knew of due to various different leaks, and some that are completely brand new that took myself and I'm pretty sure many of you by surprise. And those products range from, of course, the upcoming Transformers Kingdom toy line, the Transformers RED line, as well as some reissues for the Transformers Prime 10th anniversary, a line which I am so excited to actually pick up. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of the reveals. And so, to kick things off, of course, we have to discuss the upcoming Transformers Kingdom line. Some of the products here I have already reviewed, such as Rat Trap and Cheetor. However, this is the first time that we're actually getting a proper look at the packaging, and I think that this is by far the best box art design that we have gotten across the entire War for Cybertron trilogy. These figures here in their packaging look absolutely incredible, especially for the new Deluxe Class and Voyager figures. You can see that this time around they have got the artwork actually proceeding to the front of the packaging, which does actually cover up a portion of the figure. However, the top half is still incredibly visible, and I think that the artwork on these looks superb. You can see that we've got some fantastic imagery there of Cheetor in his robot mode as well as his cheetah mode. I think that Optimus Primal's box art looks incredible, with him clearly displayed in both robot mode as well as gorilla mode. And taking a look here at the new core class line, much like I stated in my review, this definitely appears as if though it is taking the place of the Battle Masters / Micro Masters, as the packaging here is once again incredibly similar to that particular line. And you can see that the artwork that they are using there for Rat Trap is incredibly realistic. That definitely to me looks more like a realistic rat than what we saw in the original Beast Wars animation. So once again, Hasbro have done a fantastic job. I definitely thought that Earthrise was a mass improvement over that of Siege, and I believe that Kingdom absolutely obliterates Earthrise and Siege in terms of the overall quality and presentation here of their packaging. And so starting off here with one of our first new reveals, we have the core class Vertebrate, and I think that this figure looks amazing. The fossilizer concept to me, when it was first leaked, definitely appeared as if though it was going to be an incredibly interesting take on the weaponizers, and I think that this figure here really is a prime example of that. You can see that his dinosaur mode, I'm not entirely familiar of the actual dinosaur that this figure does appear to obtain, but you can see that is incredibly realistic to that of an actual fossil of this particular dinosaur. I think that the proportions on this look amazing. As we take a look here at his robot mode, this looks really awesome. Definitely very Beast Wars in aesthetic. However, of course, this is an entire new concept that is specifically designed for the Kingdom line, and I really do think that this figure looks amazing with that awesome dry brushing as well as gold paint applications. Definitely one to pick up. And this figure too is also a core class, so if this is half as good as the Kingdom core class Rat Trap that I have recently reviewed, I'm sure that this one will definitely be worth picking up. So Vertebrate here definitely looks as if though he's going to be a must-have for any Transformer Kingdom collector. And so in keeping with the core class toy line, the next figure that was revealed was that of a traditional looking Optimus Prime. Now this figure here definitely made me rather confused, as although I imagine that they are releasing this Optimus Prime in order to be in scale with perhaps Optimus Primal and of course the Beast Wars version of Megatron, we are getting a Warpath in this particular line, a deluxe class Warpath, which is supposed to also scale with the figures in their robot mode. So I'm really unsure as to how this Optimus Prime is actually going to play into all of this. Of course, I think the Warpath is probably more intended for your traditional G1 collectors, so will probably scale better off with your Earthrise and Siege figures, whereas I believe that this core class Optimus Prime is probably going to scale in terms of animation accuracy. But still a really nice looking figure considering the scale. I do believe that they've managed to get his traditional G1 cap mode looking fantastic. I was quite surprised to see the level of detailing as well as paintwork on this particular release. The Kingdom line is only meant to actually have a retail price of roughly $10, so for $10 I definitely do think that this looks like a super awesome traditional version of Optimus Prime, and of course it will include an accessory, that being his traditional Ion Blaster. This definitely won't be a figure that I'll be going crazy for, however it is for sure one that I will add for the collection, especially if this is intended to scale with some of our other Deluxe Voyager and Leader figures based on the Beast Wars Kingdom toy line. And so now jumping straight from the core class reveals to the Voyager class reveals, I won't be discussing any of the Kingdom Deluxe figures just as I have already reviewed them or am in the process of reviewing the remaining few. So we are jumping straight here to the Voyager class Optimus Primal, and once again I think that this figure here looks fantastic. A very animation accurate looking robot mode. However, once again, in keeping with the Kingdom aesthetic, it does appear as if though he's going to have an incredibly realistic gorilla mode, and I'm all for that. I've stated in some of my Kingdom reviews so far that I think that this toy line is really nailing the overall aesthetic of these figures. I think that giving them realistic beast modes definitely helps to differentiate them from the original original Beast Wars cartoon series, so that the War for Cybertron is slightly giving them their own distinctive spin. And if we take a look here at the Gorilla Mode for Optimus Primal, I think that this looks fantastic. You can see all of the sculpt work there of all of the fur on Optimus Primal's shoulders. I absolutely love the colour of this. This does appear as if though it is going to be painted really nicely, and we can see Optimus Primal's traditional shoulder cannons protruding up there in ape mode, so that's super cool. In the actual panel, it was showed that he is incredibly articulated, so you'll definitely be able to raise Optimus Primal up in his beast mode and have him pounding on his chest. Taking a look here at the robot mode, this is what really shines out for me. You can see that he does include the swords. We also once again have the shoulder rockets. I think that the head sculpt is so accurate to the actual Beast Wars series. You can see that in terms of the design for the torso, I think that that all looks fantastic. And as we take a look there for the legs, the feet are so animation accurate. It's unbelievable. Really awesome figure. I honestly do believe that Hasbro are producing some of the best Transformers figures that they have ever produced of all time, and this Optimus Primal here really does appear as if though it's going to be the best representation of this character that we've ever gotten at the mass retail price point. But you can see definitely a super awesome figure. I'm not entirely sure on whether or not he will indeed have a complex conversion. I think it was discussed that he's going to have roughly 22 steps of conversion, so perhaps he'll be intermediate. This is only a Voyager. Something that was also discussed at the panel, which isn't present here on these promotional images, is that Optimus Primal will indeed have the rockets that can shoot up from his forearms, which once again I think is just such an awesome touch, and is honestly something that they could have just completely skimped out on. So it's nice that we are getting some of those masterpiece vibes into our mass release figures. So Optimus Primal here is definitely one that I will be adding for the collection, and it's awesome that he is indeed in the Voyager class scale, so that he will pair really nicely with our leader class Megatron. And talking of Megatron, here we have the Transformers Kingdom leader class TRex Megatron, and yes, what a fantastic figure this looks to be. Honestly, I don't believe that this promotional image here does the figure justice. Some of the images that we got earlier on in the week from IGN definitely show this figure off in a better light, but taking a look at what we do have here, the T-Rex mode looks sublime. By far one of the best looking beast modes that I have seen on a mass release figure. Of course, this is a leader class, so they are able to do slightly more in terms of the complexity of the conversion. They do appear to once again be going for that more realistic vibe than animation vibe, especially where the head is concerned. The head doesn't look all that familiar to that of what we actually got in the Beast Wars animation. However, nonetheless, I still think that it looks terrific. He does have an articulated jaw, and I think that the proportions there for the T-Rex mode look fantastic. The purple color scheme is just as evident as it ever is with the Beast Wars Megatron, which I think looks super cool. We've got some nice almost orange highlights on the underside of Megatron in dinosaur mode, which is fantastic, and in all it just looks to be an amazing figure. It will have articulation at the tail as well as in the legs and the knees, and I do believe ankle rockers actually in the feet, which is super cool. As we take a look here at the robot mode, for the most part I think that this looks really awesome. Of course, as I have the masterpiece version, I'm perhaps slightly biased to that actual figure, but just taking a look here at the robot mode that we have for this mass retail release, I think that they've done a really nice job. You can see there that we've got the T-Rex head for one of Megatron's arms. I think that the actual robot mode head sculpt looks fantastic, as well as all of the detailing there for the torso as well as for the legs, and of course we do have the dinosaur tail that does become the sword for Megatron in robot mode. My only criticism with this figure would be that it does slightly appear as if though he's going to have a rather large backpack. However, the original version of Beast Wars Megatron always did have these almost two fin-like pieces protruding from his back, so in all I don't think that this looks too bad whatsoever, and will no doubt be probably one of the best sellers out of the entire Beast Wars Kingdom toy line, just as I believe the Beast Wars Megatron is potentially the most loved character out of that entire continuity. So Beast Wars Megatron for sure is definitely a really pleasant surprise, and is one that I cannot wait to add to the collection. This is for sure the most anticipated figure for me, and is one that I'm just really eagerly awaiting its eventual release. And so now turning to some of the Transformers Prime reveals, definitely reveals here that took me by surprise. We have a re-release of the Takara Tomy version of Voyager class Megatron with some of the arms microns. Now I won't be discussing the Jet Vehicle as well as Breakdown 2-pack, as unfortunately before this panel that did actually leak, but you can see here that this figure did not leak, and I think he looks fantastic. As this is the Takara Tomy re-release, he will have the chrome on his torso, which I think looks awesome, as well as come with I think it's about 3 different arms microns, which is really awesome. And I actually never was able to pick up this original version way back when, so I will definitely be incredibly happy to actually add this to the collection. And it's awesome that we are actually getting some reissues of some Transformers Prime figures 10 years after they made their debut. That is something that for me is completely unheard of, as we've never gotten really and truly reissues of any of the Transformers movie figures, other than that Optimus Prime that was released around about the time that The Last Knight came out, which was just a reissue of the original 2007 leader Optimus. So I really do hope hope that we can see more figures. I do believe that they are going to be packaged very similarly to that of the Generation Select figures, and that they are going to be Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so you will only be able to buy them online. However, I definitely do believe that they're going to have much wider availability than when they were originally released, especially where that breakdown is concerned. So awesome to see some Transformers Prime love, and I really do hope that this line continues throughout 2020 as well as 2021. And so now, turning to some of the final reveals that I will be discussing in this video, here we move on to the Transformers RED line. Now, I do believe that this is a line that I haven't actually covered at all on this channel. However, the RC figure that they do appear to be releasing looks fantastic. These are non-transforming figures produced by Hasbro, and they are roughly 6 inches in terms of their scale, so I imagine that they're going to be very similar to that of the Black Series, Marvel Legends, and perhaps even the G.I. Joe classified figures. RC here looks amazing. Now, initially I wasn't too interested in the line, as it did only appear as if though they were going to be doing the G1 figures such as Optimus, Megatron and Soundwave. However, to see them actually branching out into Transformers Prime I think is super cool, and RC looks amazing. This is for sure one of the best looking RC figures of all time. Of course, she is unable to transform, but she will include so many accessories such as her signature arm blades as well as the blasters, and it was also spoken about blast effects for the blasters and the actual arm blades, and she will also include an Energon cube. And if you did watch the live stream, you will know that this figure will have removable armor. However, in my opinion, that does not look right at all, especially here for RC. But nonetheless, taking a look at the actual figure that we do have, I think that she looks awesome, especially there with her head sculpt, so I'll definitely be picking this particular figure up. Whether or not I'll be branching out into some of the Beast Wars figures, that is yet to be seen. I do know that there is a Cheetor also coming, and that too was also revealed. However, in my opinion, he looks slightly stylized than compared to the Cheetor that we did get in the actual Beast Wars animation, and personally, considering that at the moment we are getting a Kingdom Deluxe Cheetor, I'm really unsure as to whether or not I actually need to pick up this particular RED Cheetor figure. But nonetheless, in all, I thought that the reveals were incredibly nice, and there were definitely some really awesome surprises in there. And so, some final thoughts here of the reveals that came out of the Hasbro Con 2020. I'm incredibly looking forward to what Hasbro have planned for the next couple of months. The Transformers Kingdom figures look amazing. I honestly don't believe that there is a weak figure out of that line so far. The Optimus Primal as well as the Beast Wars Megatron, in my opinion, look fantastic and could potentially be some of the best figures that we have ever gotten at mass retail. I really do like what they're doing with the core class. I think that reissuing some of the Transformers Prime figures is definitely a great marketing decision, as I know many people really love Transformers Prime, myself included. So any type of Transformers Prime merchandise that is released by Hasbro, I'm pretty sure many people are going to be picking it up. I really do quite like the look of that RED RC. Whether or not I do pick up Cheetor is yet to be seen, but as a whole, I really am happy with some of the reveals today. Unfortunately, there were no mentions whatsoever of the Studio Series. I really do hope that we do indeed get some Studio Series news rather soon. I do know that there are rumours surrounding the 86 movie, and I'll be really eager to see what those figures actually do look like. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below. Also, feel free to actually let me know your thoughts on some of the reveals and whether or not you will indeed be adding any of these to your collection. I thank you all for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.